From a rain-soaked Slugger Field in Louisville, Kentucky, you're watching the USL. As this evening, Louisville City, the champions, play host to FC Cincinnati, who top the Eastern Conference table. They have gone on a 16-game unbeaten run and will try and beat Louisville for the first time tonight. Tonight's pregame is brought to you by Four Roses Bourbon. The grounds crew hard at work to get the field ready for this one. It has been raining for about 2 hours in the build-up to this one, and we are hoping that everything will go off on time. Chris Whittingham, Matt Stubbington for commentary of this one. Let's take a look at the Eastern Conference standings as FC Cincinnati topped by some distance. Louisville came into the weekend sitting second, but Pittsburgh and Charleston on good results, and so they currently are fourth. A win tonight can catapult them back into second, Matt.
Oh, that's why the win is so important. You want to get home field advantage into the postseason play. And Louisville have to find a way to get 3 points tonight against their rivals in difficult conditions. It's going to be a great game of football tonight.
And the conditions can always play a role, particularly with the narrow field here at Slugger Field, but with rain, it only adds that difficulty. And it's been something of a bogey for Louisville playing at home of late. 3 draws and the 1 loss in their last 4 matches.
That's unusual, especially at Slugger Field, and it's normally a real home field advantage for the boys in purple. And John Hackworth, he hasn't won here in Louisville, but it's not about him. He says it's about the team and getting better. And he feels that if Louisville can do what they did last weekend against Charlotte and put a good performance out, they will build on that and be successful as the season concludes.
And some defensive errors of late have led to a change at the back. We'll tell you about that coming up next. For the visitors, FC Cincinnati, as you mentioned, 16 matches unbeaten. But in terms of what's at stake, they can continue the streak. They're in all likelihood going to be the #1 seed. You'd have to say, for their final season in USL, their biggest point tonight, we have to beat our rivals.
Well, they haven't beaten Louisville this season. They've played 2, lost 2. They haven't even scored a goal against Louisville. That is going to be the #1 aim tonight for Cincinnati, because if they don't score a goal, they cannot win. So they've got to find a way to beat Ranjitsingh in net for Louisville, but they've got the players to do it, and they would love to keep this 16-game unbeaten streak continuing.
It wasn't the brightest of starts for Cincinnati, but with some midseason acquisitions and some rounding into form, they have been the dominant side in the USL Eastern Conference. But coming up next, we'll bring you starting lineups and kickoff. It's Louisville City, who currently sit 4th in the Eastern Conference, taking on FC Cincinnati, who have been rampant. It's the champions against the favorites in the Dirty River Derby, and it's next.
Performance, style, adventurous, safety. They say good things happen to those who wait. Well, you've waited long enough. Now at Toyota's Last Chance Clearance Event, you can get $2,250 cash back on a capable, versatile new 2018 RAV4, or get 0.9% financing for 60 months, or lease this RAV4 LE for just $209 a month. Make good things happen. Toyota, let's go places.
At Dr. Mark Lennon Associates, I focus on taking care of my family, but I also focus on taking care of your family. We firmly believe that you've got to give back. Our primary goal is to do what's right for the patient. If that means glasses, contacts, or treating an eye condition, we will be sure you get the care that you need. We want to take care of you the same way we take care of all our family.
This is our family. And here at Dr. Mark Lennon Associates, we're focused on your family, the community, and most importantly, your vision.
There's a reason everyone around here complains about allergies. They're bad. But family allergy and asthma can build up your immunity to what makes you miserable, ending your suffering for good. No more symptoms means no more complaining. Family allergy and asthma.
More and more people are finding themselves in a Chevy for the first time. You can too during the Chevy Labor Day sales event. Now through September 10th, use Labor Day cash and trade up to this Silverado to get a total value of $11,000 when you finance with GM Financial. This Labor Day, discover why Chevy is the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. Kentucky drives Chevy. Find new roads.
I am Biscuits and Gravy at DQ, and I am the stuff that Biscuits and Gravy dreams are made of. The kind of dream where home-style biscuits are served fluffy and warm, and the scent of simmering Purnell's sausage gravy is so aromatic you can taste it. And then the dream ends with you taking a bite just to realize this is real life, and you're at Dairy Queen in your pajamas, eating a real breakfast now for just $1.99. Because I'm not fast food, I am fan food.
Complaining about your allergies won't make them go away, but calling Family Allergy and Asthma can. We offer the most effective treatments available to help you find relief. No more symptoms means no more complaining. Family Allergy and Asthma.
GE Appliances welcomes you into tonight's game broadcast. Louisville City playing host to FC Cincinnati in the Dirty River Derby. Chris Whittingham alongside Matt Stubbington for commentary of this one. Marcos de Oliveira marshaling out the teams onto the field. Let's get to our starting lineups. They're presented by UPSJobs.com for FC Cincinnati. 3 changes with Patty Barrett and Blake Smith coming in to that back 4. Emery Welshman leads the line for the visitors.
Oh, it's a really good, strong attacking 4 for Cincinnati. And then the back 4 is pretty good too. They've played a lot of games together this season, so there's a lot of experience and a lot of good communication going on in front of Spencer Ritchie. For the home team, it's a lot of familiar players too, but it's a little bit of a different lineup. It's been employed in the last few games by John Hackworth and Oscar Jimenez. We normally see him on the left side of midfield. He's dropped back into the left fullback position with the 4-2-3-1 lineup. I think this is a good formation for Louisville City. And of course, Cameron Lancaster, 18 goals up top. He's having a great year.
The one change for Louisville at the back to be expected after a couple of errors last weekend against Charleston Battery, with Alexis Suahi coming in for Sean Tosh. The supporters here of the home side will very much be putting in a shift tonight, standing in the rain and the difficult conditions tonight here at Slugger Field. But let's go and get to our keys to the game. They're powered by Kentucky Lottery. Reminds you that lottery proceeds fund college scholarship and grant programs, including every dollar of the popular Keys Scholarship Program. Matt, what do you have for us?
Well, when Cincinnati FC have such a good front 4, you have to pick your poison, and one of the poisons to pick is deny Ledesma the ball. 13 goals on the season, 11 assists. That really tells the whole story. If you can deny him any time on the ball, then it will make life difficult for FC Cincinnati. But also Louisville have to make sure they can keep their composure. For the visitors, they have to adapt. This is a tough field to play on at the best of times. The conditions for both teams are really going to be challenging. But FC Cincinnati are really going to have to adapt to the field and to their opponent if they're going to come out victorious tonight.
Quite remarkable that the pitch has held up so well when you consider how heavily it has been raining in the Louisville area. But it does look like we are set to carry on. We're hoping for no lightning, no delays. We saw that last weekend when they took on Charleston in about an hour's delay. But they'll try and give it a go tonight without any issues. The men in purple taking on the leaders of the East by some distance.
Cameron Lancaster about an hour ago would have been stood in a puddle.
That center circle took the brunt of it. The tarp usually reserved for baseball. As we are underway, it's 1 against 3. The favorites against the champions. It's FC Cincinnati in their white with the orange trim, going from left to right. They're unbeaten in 16. They've won 5 on the balance, but their last L was against the side wearing purple tonight. Louisville City beat FC Cincinnati by 2-0 at the Nippert Stadium in May. Cameron Lancaster and George Davis IV, the goal scorers the last time Cincinnati lost in the league. Welcome to rain-soaked Slugger Field. It should be an interesting one this evening between Louisville City, last year's champions, and FC Cincinnati, who with a couple of mid-season acquisitions, they're already headed towards being the favorites. With Fernando Adi on the bench and Fatai Alashe in the center of midfield, they only become more pronounced as such. Let's get a look at the way these two teams will set up this evening. Here's Emmanuel Ledesma, who, as you mentioned, Matt, in the pregame has been the danger man. A lovely bit of interchange there. Allows Emery Welshman to send a cross in, and Greg Ranjitsing dives to his right, but also takes up a little puddle, and I imagine we'll see more than a few of those.
You can see the standing water there as Ranjitsing goes down to his right. Good effort from Welshman, trying to get the ball across the 6-yard box. But you can see the talent of Ledesma, the intelligence and creativity of the player on the right side of the attack for Cincinnati.
And tonight's match is presented by Toyota. Let's go places. Emmanuel Ledesma trying to play the ball in towards Emery Welshman, part of a rotation of 3 center forwards to lead the line for FC Cincinnati. Danny Koenig already into double figures in goals, as Ball is lofted into that penalty area by George Davis IV, but catching practice for Spencer Ritchie. You have Welshman, who is on 3 goals and 4 assists. Koenig on 10 goals and 1 assist. And Fernando Adi, the big money signing, will be the first designated player to take the visitors into Major League Soccer. He scored his first goal off the bench last weekend against Pittsburgh Riverhounds. The MLS veteran opening his account for FC Cincinnati. They will deploy themselves in their usual 4-2-3-1. That is the preferred formation for both of these sides. And you see steps. Any kick of the ball activates that standing wall. It's a nice take there from Ledesma to cut inside. Might still be Ledesma. Shot didn't have the right bend on it, but it was the right idea from the Argentinian.
Dopiglo is furious. 3 players around Ledesma, and yet he still manages to get a shot away. Jimenez was there. McCabe was coming back to the double. Shot was not of the quality you'd expect, but Ledesma was under some pressure. See that black armband on the left arm of Ledesma in memory of the victims of the shooting earlier this week in Cincinnati.
Very nice gesture from a community-oriented club, as multiple appeals for offside. Not interested is the assistant. The big switch, though, falls to the feet of George Davis IV. Teasing on that penalty area. We'll leave it here for Kyle Smith. Turn and play it for Speedy Williams. Paulo Del Piccolo. Will again lofted towards that right-hand side. The returning Blake Smith, the defender. It's lofted in towards Lancaster. Ritchie punching away, but a bit awkwardly, will fall to the feet of Ilya Ilic. There's the native of Belgrade again. There's that change in the back four with Suahi. Playing on that right-hand side. Will fall very nicely for Ilic, but couldn't get his touch right. Was trying to leave it for Davis IV and might have done better to take towards goal.
I completely agree with you there. I'm surprised that Ilic didn't try and take that one time and challenge the goalkeeper. Challenging. It's going to be transitioning from the natural turf to the artificial turf at Louisville's end of the pitch.
Seems to be where the standing water is as well. You'd have to say the grounds crew did about as good of a job as they can to get this sorted before kickoff this evening.
Well, so far it looks like the ball is traveling nicely on the surface. Sometimes when there is standing water, the ball will just hold up, annoyingly so. You kick it with all your power and it just stays right where it's at. But at the moment, it seems like it's moving across the ground, as you would expect.
Here's Forrest Lasso, who will partner tonight with Paddy Barrett, and wear the captain's armband. And for the Israeli Dekel Kanan, one of 3 changes tonight for FC Cincinnati off their 2-1 victory against Pittsburgh Riverhounds last time out. Cincinnati, a run of games against the top sides in the Eastern Conference.
The ball bounced awkwardly. I thought it actually come off of Kyle Smith and that he was conceding a corner kick, but the right fullback for the home team didn't actually touch it. So it'll be a goal kick to Ranjitsingh, and you see him coming all the way across to this near sideline as far as he possibly can on his 6 to get a firm footing.
Yeah, it seems like the patch of dirt that would represent the outfield at this converted baseball stadium is the place where the players want to be playing the most tonight.
Certainly doesn't want to try and put his footing on the artificial surface.
Really picked off there, but Al-Badawi trying to slide in Emery Welshman.
That was an important challenge there from Paco Craig. If he doesn't get that right, Welshman's in. The central channel just opened up. Suahi hadn't closed down.
Done there by Al-Badawi again. Former North Carolina FC number 10. Plays that same role for Cincinnati. There you see the first time the pitch claims a victim, Corbin Bone going down. And now Speedy Williams just trying to get it out of his feet. Plenty of difficulties in that section of the park. And now Louisville will carry on through Ilic.
Well, the tarp was placed over the infield, but it had to be pulled up to have the field inspected, and get it ready for play. And it's continued to rain, and so the standing water is on the artificial surface. It's not going to drain anywhere off of that artificial ground.
Lovely ball slid in the path of Ledesma, tried to regain his footing, and then couldn't find the right ball for the run of Fatai Alashe. And the ex-San Jose Earthquakes midfielder watching it as it went straight into the path of Greg Ranjitsingh. Canadian, but also an international for Trinidad and Tobago, has yet to pick up caps, but does have a couple of call-ups into the TNT squad. Nearly given away there by Jimenez. Del Piccolo. Jimenez.
Credit both teams in this early going. They're both trying to play the game on the deck. In these conditions, you would excuse them for trying to knock the ball long.
Davis the fourth. Going to charge at Blake Smith. Into the penalty area, will peel it back, will fall for McCabe! And well saved there by Ritchie. Not sure he knew a ton about it, but diving to his right, was able to at least parry it aside for the corner.
I thought that things were getting a little congested on that right side as Illich took a defender into the way of Davis the fourth. The ball across was a good one. Lancaster overran it. McCabe with a good shot. The goalkeeper, with his recovery to the center of the goal, was able to fall down and make the save.
There's Oscar Jimenez's corner. Just kind of died in the rain a little bit before it can arrive on that back post. Speedy Williams will try and return it for Jimenez, but clever reading of the game there. Now FC Cincinnati on the counter. Al-Badawi trying to slide in Corbin Bone. But well dealt with there by Louisville.
A couple of good interceptions there. Firstly by Kenny Walker defensively off the corner kick. Starting the counter for FC Cincinnati.
And not the right ball there from Walker. As you have a look here at the opportunity for Niall McCabe.
That was great work from Ritchie. This even better on replay. That ball was going between his legs. Closed the wicket right at the last moment. Beautifully done and good footwork to get back to the middle of the goal from his near post.
It looked awkward on initial viewing. I thought just by falling to his right that he got it, but you're right, it was heading between his legs. And well done there by the Cincinnati keeper. He does have a terrific record when starting in goal. He's won 8 of his 9 starts. Here's Illich, assessing his options and electing to play in Davis the fourth. He's had some joy down this right-hand side. Davis the fourth will strike with his left. Some decent power, but always going over Spencer Ritchie's goal.
Cameron Lancaster is talking to Mr. De Oliveira, wondering where the call was. Lancaster went to the ground.
As you get a look at the role that the service will play here, there's, I believe it was Paco Craig going down there. We'll see plenty of that, particularly on the artificial section where the infield would be.
Footing is going to be an issue all over the pitch, but particularly in the infield.
It also does not particularly look like the rain is letting up either.
The one concern is with the footing is hopefully nobody picks up an injury because of the surface in these conditions.
The supporters still in full voice.
There's a fantastic crowd considering the conditions that we're faced with tonight. We're all hanging out underneath the in the concourse.
Speedy Williams, well done there to find feet of Kyle Smith. Throw in for Louisville. Came into the weekend second in the table, but positive results for Pittsburgh and Charleston have seen them drop to 4th at the moment, but a victory tonight would see them back into that top 2. As the ball is attempted slid in the path of Lancaster there by McCabe, but well cut out there by Barrett. And now Welshman. He's trying to use his body there to ward off Craig. Well dealt with there by the Louisville defender.
Well, both conferences are really congested. The only team really that's got any separation is FC Cincinnati. It just makes the conclusion of the USL season. I can't believe that we're at the conclusion of the USL season. It's gone by in a flash, but it's going to be really exciting coming down the pipe to see what happens, who makes the playoffs, who gets into the top four. I mean, a couple of results.
Illich in some space. Illich poking it straight at Richie, who deals with it well.
Trying conditions for the goalkeeper. I should say goalkeepers. You've got to include Ranjit Singh in that conversation, but that was a fine effort from Richie, making sure that he got his body well behind the ball. Good technique with his arms to make sure it wasn't going anywhere but into the breadbasket.
Louisville coming off a 2-2 draw at home and also a 4-1 loss at home to Toronto FC 2, which to date might be one of the shock results of the season. Toronto FC 2, well bottom of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, already eliminated from the playoffs.
Beating the champions on their patch. And Lancaster now going to put Barrett under a bit of pressure, but the Irishman dealing with it well. Anything can happen on an evening in the USL. Certainly I have to say, this year, Louisville have pulled off, wouldn't quite say shock results, but winning away from home against FC Cincinnati, not once, but twice. Would not have happened to Cincinnati too often. They've only lost 3 times, period. Losing to their rivals and at home twice would not be welcomed by Alan Koch and company.
The first game of the season, I'm not sure what's going on. There's players not happy with the ball. So a replacement has been sent out for the free kick. There's Alan Koch. Second season, great record. Really fantastic coach. As many of the coaches are in the USL, lots of experience, some great leaders.
Does have a contract extension through the end of the 2020 season. In the week, confirmed that his assistants will be coming with him as well. Jimenez and Craig. You've just received word from the ground that the Louisville area is on tornado watch. Not exactly the most promising, but we'll carry on. Quarter of an hour into this one. A couple of decent chances for Louisville City. Falling to the feet of Illich and McCabe. Not a ton created by the league leaders. Illich again in some space, but well tackled again there by Kenny Walker, who recovers for Cincinnati.
Just great work there from Speedy Williams in the midfield for the home team to intercept some passes. That's a good searching diagonal ball.
It is indeed to the path of Davis. The fourth might still fall here for Speedy Williams. He does take a challenge through his back, but no foul play in there. Heavy sliding effort in there from Smith. Judge to have gotten at least a little bit of the Cincinnati player. This portion of tonight's game is brought to you by Republic Bank. Cincinnati tonight without a couple of internationals. Pa Konate and Michael Lahoud in Africa with Guinea and Sierra Leone respectively. Always great to see the USL home to full internationals.
I think he's got great players all over. Lots of experience, and good to see them getting the opportunities with their national teams.
Well, won there by Abadoui, but he couldn't regain his footing. It seems like it will be a theme this evening. And well done there by Speedy Williams. Lancaster had drifted offside before he can get on the other end of that bit of service. Still would have been pretty if he could have put it in the back of the net, but hits the roof of the net, and Lancaster with the Mutombo finger saying, no, I was on. But it will be a replay angle that will decide that. Well, more importantly, the assistant who decides that, and he saw enough to raise his flag.
Certainly, the amount of space that Lancaster was in, it would lead me to believe that he was in an offside position when the ball was played. I mean, he can time his run, but
I was kind of deceived, though, because sometimes they're just perfectly timed in a perfect ball.
Not the best ball there, though, off of the set piece. Too easy for Ranjitsingh. Really nobody in the area from Cincinnati. You expect them to be a little bit more industrious on the runs, but it was a little bit wider from target than you would have thought.
4 forward in the attack there is Illich trying to put off Kenny Walker there to win in the air.
Some silly fouls from Louisville. Not really used to seeing them make some mental errors like that.
Does seem like Route 1 might have to be the option for these teams to get the ball off the pitch. Lovely touch there from Speedy Williams, particularly given the conditions. Sends Kyle Smith into some space. The Louisville right back carrying on his way. Will send the service in. Well cut out there by Forrest Lasso.
Oh, wonderful clearing header. You see as the ball bounces, the water's just taking any spin off of the ball and it's skidding off of the surface.
I wonder if it might be one of those bounces that leads to a decisive goal. John Hackworth, see the weather on his pants this evening. You'd have to say a fair amount of discomfort at the ground. Fans, players, our terrific camera crew. We get to be here in our luxurious booth, watching on.
I'm glad that we are in this booth. I'm looking at where the artificial surface meets the real grass, and there's puddles forming.
Yes.
I have to wonder how much longer things will continue. There's John Hackworth, the head coach for Louisville City. Replaced the great triumvirate that was Davis IV, Del Piccolo.
Spencer as well, as the ball is played in the penalty area. Lancaster trying to turn, might still fall there for Illich, but again, Kenny Walker, who's been a pivotal figure for Cincinnati in these early stages, dealing with it.
Wasn't going to forget Luke Spencer, cut off as things were getting interesting in the penalty area. These three guys did a fantastic job for Louisville City. Luke Spencer taking the helm during games.
You mentioned earlier, Matt, the concern for injuries. You saw Emery Welshman there just kind of lose his footing, almost have to compose himself. In a non-contact, non-action, that the concern is. Smith will loft into the area. McCabe throwing his body in there, but it just runs through. Jimenez tried to play it out the other side of Ledesma and fouled him in the process.
Acknowledgement from Jimenez for his error. Respect to Ledesma. It was good use of the body there from number 45. The visitors just knowing that the pressure was coming from Jimenez. In these conditions, it's going to be tough to break down and stop your momentum.
I think you saw there the players on the substitutes bench for FC Cincinnati just getting warmed up, moving the legs a little bit.
It was not a night to be on the bench. We're sorry before the game. There was a lot of water on the...
Awkward there from Suahi, and his touch forcing Ranjitsingh to play with his feet rather than with his hands. And a throw in there for Justin Hoyt.
It's one of those awkward ones for the goalkeeper. Is it a back pass? Is it not? What will the referee call? So you are on the side of conservatism and make sure that you get the ball out of the danger area. You don't want to give an indirect free kick inside your own 18.
Ledesma. There you see those puddles there on the edge of that artificial surface. You almost wonder, like, for a hydration break, if there's almost going to be a water clearing break. Either way, the ball is sent in the path of Alache. The cross is sent in, but again, difficult to get that power or that movement on the ball. And it's straight at Ranjitsingh.
Another great technique from the goalkeepers. Ranjitsingh there, making sure that the body was behind the ball.
And we should say that John Hackworth's games in charge have seen plenty of goals. Certainly what I was expecting coming into the evening. Scored 20, conceded 12 in 7 matches under the charge of the new manager, John Hackworth. Here's Cameron Lancaster in the penalty area. Leave it for now. McCabe, lovely flick back into the path of Lancaster, but a bit too close to the defender. It's the right idea, but dealt with there by Cincinnati.
See the ball just getting hung up a little bit underneath the feet of both Lancaster and McCabe. Imagination from number 11, trying to spring the goal scorer elite Cameron Lancaster, but wasn't able to do so.
Hoyt, the Englishman, who does also have 18 caps for Trinidad and Tobago. Player in England with Sunderland, Middlesbrough, Millwall, and Dagenham and Redbridge. Applying his trade in the United States, starter of 23 matches on this right-hand side. Also played some at left back. As Albadoui just leaves it there for Alashe, who just takes a touch towards goal, plays it, return for Albadoui. Here's Ledesma, who clipped towards that back post by fall for Bone, and it goes in! Looked like it might have been stopped there by the water, but Corbin Bone gives the lead to the visitors. They're trying to beat their rivals for the first time in the season. Bone saluting the traveling supporters. It's Louisville City 0, FC Cincinnati 1.
For the first time this year, the visitors have breached the goal of Ranjitsingh. And it looked like the spin of the ball off of the water took it into the post and beyond the goal line. This was wonderful skill from Ledesma. Look how he opens up his hips and actually crosses it with his left peg. That takes it beyond the defenders of Louisville. Bone comes back to the ball. Great technique and concentration. Just stands the ball up at the back post as Ledesma. Look at Bone coming back to the ball. And there is the little delay of the ball in the puddle. Ranjitsingh remonstrates at the water at his knees. And if that puddle wasn't there, it might have skidded off the surface and beyond the right-hand post as we look at the goal, Chris.
I thought for a moment that it was going to stop it from going in, that it was just going to die in the puddle and not into the back of the net. But considering the conditions, Corbin Bone will not score a goal with more degree of difficulty than that one. Now 6 on the campaign for the winger from Texas.
It's great concentration. Had to wait for that ball to come out, down, then get his foot above his hip to hit it down into the surface.
I don't know if that's tape or a sock there from Ledesma. That's trailing from his right boot. Multiple challenges coming in from Ledesma. We play on, or from Jimenez. Ledesma falling by the corner. And again, he must have fallen about 5 times in trying to hold that play up. And he's saying to the assistant, what do I have to do, man?
I'm amazed that there wasn't a free kick given at some point in this whole sequence here. Strength on the ball. Maybe he goes down a little too easily, but certainly there were feet kicking at his ankles. And it was just a throw-in.
You have to say everyone on this pitch tonight earning their paycheck and then some in these conditions. Well done by McCabe, who nearly gave away in a dangerous area but managed to keep it. It was the right idea there from Illich to try and slide in Davis to fourth, who would have been onside. The cutout there by Bone. As the flag does go up there for offside. I believe against Ledesma. As it is FC Cincinnati who lead away from home. They've done well just about everywhere. But it's 8 wins, 3 draws, and 1 loss away. That is simply sensational away form in USL. It's hard to win away in this league, but Cincinnati at times have made it look easy. They've won 5 in a row and are unbeaten in 16. $60 points from 27 matches, scored 55, conceded 26. They have been imperious, and they are now the favorites to win this league. A couple of players added midseason who are regular starters in their MLS sides, with 2019 in Major League Soccer in mind. Fernando Adi on the bench. Bone try and strike towards goal. Took a deflection on the way through. My word, this rain is intense.
No bounce there as the ball fell to the foot of Bone.
Every step comes with the puddle as Smith went flying in. have to say it takes some courage to try and play out from this surface.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing. If it were me, I'd be dumping that ball as far away from my net as I could.
And the ball might fall kindly here for Lancaster, who will play it out the other side here on the edge of the area. Here's McCabe. And Jimenez. Jimenez! That was awkward there for Spencer Ritchie. In normal conditions, might have been routine, but does manage to keep it out of the back of his net, and it will result in a corner.
That ball just accelerated off of the grass as it went towards Ritchie's net. This is a wonderful save from the goalkeeper.
Does result in a Louisville corner. Decent service in there. The flicked header attempted, but it went straight into a white shirt there from Lancaster, but it will be another corner.
I think it was Lasso with the clearing header.
Jimenez again. This time towards the edge of that 6-yard area. It's a decent delivery considering to send the ball through the rain from Jimenez on these corners. And now Smith will try and lob it back in towards that area. A whiff of offside, but well dealt with there by Cincinnati. Now they'll break here through Welshman, who sprays it out to this right-hand side. Away is Alpadawi. Here's Alpadawi in the penalty area, assessing his options, peels it across the face of goal, and just died there around the penalty spot.
Ranjitsing's really lucky that Alpadawi did not shoot this ball. Ranjitsing had cheated to his near post and was perhaps a little bit too close to the front post.
And now Louisville away through Illich. And Davis, the fourth, tries to return it for the number 14. Now Davis again. McCabe. He's done really well to pick out his options tonight towards that byline. And eventually put out a play for a goal kick. It was Kenny Walker who got the last touch, but the assistant deciding it had gone out of play first.
I was surprised that it's gone out for a goal kick, but this is the shot from Jimenez. And watch the way this ball just accelerates towards the goalkeeper.
And a bounce off this surface will not be welcomed.
That was wonderful goalkeeping there from Ritchie. I don't think he'll get any plaudits for save of the week, but he really would deserve it considering the conditions and the way that ball just took off from the foot of Jimenez.
You mentioned the congestion towards the top of the East. Save for Cincinnati. That only being highlighted tonight with Charleston Battery leading by a 0-0 at home against Tampa Bay. As we will have a whistle for a foul in the center of the park.
It's actually going against Louisville, although it's Illich that is down on the turf holding his nose. Can't believe that the foul's gone against him. FC Cincinnati, the first team in the USL to clinch a playoff berth.
And can very soon as well clinch a home playoff game. It would be 18 points clear in the live table on Indy 11, with both teams only having 6 matches left to play. So that would just about do it. This portion of tonight's game is brought to you by Sullivan University. A half hour gone. It's 1-0 to FC Cincinnati through Corbin Bone, who managed to place the ball just over the line after it took a giant skid off a puddle. Just enough power in the shot to get it over the line. But you thought, Matt, that it might not have had the accuracy towards goal if not for that puddle.
I might be doing him a disservice, but certainly from the low angle, it looked like it might have gone wide.
Ball taken there by Davis, the fourth, who strikes and whacks it off of Forrest Lasso, laying his body on the line.
It was the fourth calling for a penalty kick. Maybe thought that the ball was handled.
Not too many appeals from his teammates, though. It's a lovely first touch, though, from George Davis, the fourth. That kind of quality only amplified by the conditions.
And Ranjitsing's probably saying to Suhail, please don't pass it back to me.
Well, at least pass it back to me in the natural grass area around my goal. That's for sure. Jimenez. And Lancaster coming back to receive the ball. Lancaster, top of the scoring charts in USL with 18. He scored 8 in the month of August. You'd have to say definitely top of the running for player of the month. As here is Illich on the edge, trying to play in Davis IV, who goes down on the way to the challenge, and the referee waves away. Marcos de Oliveira not interested in the penalty claims from George Davis IV.
Very surprised that the whistle didn't go. It looked like Davis IV was run over from behind. Maybe not. He went down a little too easily for the referee's taste, but for my eye, that would have been a penalty kick. Certainly have seen them given. John Hackworth can't believe it.
Having a go at that fourth official and the assistant as well.
And the question, Chris, is if it's not a penalty, then give Davis IV a yellow card for diving.
As Illich will slide it towards that penalty area. And the chance does result in a corner.
Now the wind is picking up, which is going to make things even more difficult for these teams, specifically to Cincinnati, as it's blowing straight towards their goal.
You see even the corner flag having some difficulty standing up. As here does come that corner. Cincinnati able to manage it. Speedy Williams trying to return, but unable to get enough loft on it. But the challenge came in here as Louisville was trying to recover the ball. And just an extension there. Might have been from Albadoui. No, it's from Ledesma in the end. And caught the Louisville defender, so they'll have a free kick in a fairly dangerous area here.
Well, this is Lancaster territory. He's a master at these free kicks. Whether he can manage it in these conditions, we will have to wait and see. Ledesma there just losing his footing. In doing so, calls the foul. This is a great opportunity for Louisville if they're able to find a way to put this one in the back of the net from the set piece. And they're still talking about the penalty kick that wasn't called.
Do FC Cincinnati think they can establish their wall about 2 feet away from the spot of the ball?
Well, there's one thing for sure, the ref edge will not stick on the field today.
Right,
He'll be
that's for sure.
Straight away.
There will not be vanishing spray that will last for any duration. And there you see Lancaster assessing this free kick. I wonder, giving the standing water in various sections of the pitch, if you can even get enough power on this. Lancaster will certainly give it a go. And flying in to that supporter section in behind the Cincinnati goal, and it'll be a goal kick for the visitors.
As he was lining up to take it, I was wondering if he would be better served to maybe skid it off of the surface and test the goalkeeper in that manner. See the spray of water and mud as he kicked the ball. Maybe his footing gave way just a little bit. Certainly leaning back as he struck the select soccer ball all over the target.
It might have been difficult enough to play this match in normal conditions given the rain that happened pre-match, but it's actually intensifying.
And the wind picked up, brought in another squall line coming in, making life even more difficult. They'll be asking for casual water relief. There just isn't anywhere to get that relief on the field.
Flicked on there by McCabe into the path of Illich, who will turn and try and play in McCabe. The Irishman unable to take. This ball is booted up towards Welshman. Cut out there by Craig. And now Speedy Williams. You mentioned that wind. There you see it's almost raining sideways right now. Again, you'd have to admire the bravery of Louisville trying to play out in this. Kyle Smith's ball running into that standing water there. McCabe. As the cross gets sent in towards that back post, and Ritchie was forced to punch it over his bar. I'm not sure he might have expected that, but with the wind, it almost went towards his goal.
As the play was continuing, I was thinking to myself, just put the ball up in the air towards Ritchie. The wind is blowing straight at him with the rain. His vision is going to be affected. And as you say, Chris, they saw that ball late because of the weather conditions at the moment. Be interesting to talk to the players whether they've ever played in conditions like this before.
As the ball is played in towards that near post, dealt with there by Forrest Lasso.
Good clearing header, exactly what you want from your central defender. Right at the near post, puts it out for another corner kick. Jimenez to take again. Plays it short.
This time low towards the edge of that area, and Speedy Williams. The return ball gets played in, hit with plenty of pace. And arriving in there, I believe, was Craig, but couldn't get that decisive touch on it.
Well, the way the water is on the field right now, anything in the air, if I'm taking a shot, I'm trying to hit it on the ground and test the goalkeeper that way. We saw from Jimenez's shot earlier how it just accelerated off of the grass. Make life difficult for the goalkeeper for that skidding efforts coming in. And the referee is walking to the sideline.
I think he might be thinking about stopping play.
Conversation seems to be going on about that. The players are wondering, well, we're this wet, we might as well continue.
And I believe he's saying it's not me, it might be officials on the ground, and we just have received word we will be having a lightning delay for inclement weather. I think even without a lightning delay, you'd have to say that the conditions have played a massive role in this one so far. John Hackworth just having a conversation here with Marcos de Oliveira. You'd imagine he'd be registering an argument that his side have not had ample opportunity to make a comeback in this game. They trail by a 1-0. But that's the scene right now at Slugger Field. It is torrentially raining. There is inclement weather in the area. We'll stay with you here and show you how the first 38 minutes of this one have played out. We'll show you the goal and the other highlights from this one. FC Cincinnati, leaders in the Eastern Conference, seen a few chances at their end. There, George Davis, the fourth, picking out now McCabe.
That was a wonderful shot from McCabe, but an even better save from the goalkeeper, Ritchie. He had to close his legs quickly as that was going through the wicket. And it really has been Louisville City that have had the better of the opportunities going forward, except for this moment. Beautiful cross from Ledesma with the left leg. How he opened his hips up to get that ball over to the back post where Bone was waiting. Just stands the ball up, Bone comes back to the ball, and there's the little delay of this ball on the puddle, and it spins it into the post pass for Njitsing. And you see the goalkeeper looking in with disgust at the puddle.
And meanwhile, another good opportunity for Louisville. Jimenez striking towards Ritchie.
Again, good technique from the goalkeeper. This was a really difficult shot to handle as it accelerated off the grass in the wet conditions. Jimenez with a great effort on frame. And as this first half continued, it was Louisville that had the better opportunities. And again, off of a corner kick. Here's the ball coming in. And you see how the ball just skidded off the surface. No spin on it. Ritchie making sure it goes past his right-hand post. Louisville City couldn't find a way to reach Ritchie's net, though, as the goalkeeper for FC Cincinnati was standing strong. As things just got even more difficult for these players, and I have to doff my cap. These guys have played a really good game of football in some really tough conditions.
Yes, as the waves of rain continue here at Slugger Field, it will certainly carry on for some time. We were hoping that we can squeeze in these 90 minutes considering the circumstances. And Louisville City tonight, there you see particularly that infield section. That, you'd have to say, is the most difficult to reconcile at the moment. A lot of standing water. We thought the ground crew could handle it from what we got in pre-match, but it has only gotten worse here at Slugger Field. And you'd have to say, for the safety of the players, both in terms of lightning and in terms of field conditions, this was the correct decision. For Louisville City, you might be frustrated that you haven't been able to really mount your comeback attempt, but you have to say a decision well taken.
Well, I mean, there's lightning in the area, so I mean the decision is out of everybody's hands. It's for the safety of the fans, players alike, and there'll be a 30-minute delay from the moment of the last lightning strike to before any other action can start. But it's all going to be whether anything's going to happen as far as the field conditions are concerned.
So once again, your score here after about 38 minutes of play, Louisville City trailing by a 1-0, but the conditions will certainly play a role in the rest of this match. We'll keep you up to date of anything else that we have to offer in terms of information about the resuming of this game. We'll be right back.